ठीक है, तो last time we were discussing inheritance. Okay, so let me share my screen and open the folder that we are doing, because I don't quite remember what we are doing. Okay, so this virtual machine kind of seems stuck, so let me just restart it. Give me a minute. Okay, give me just another minute. Okay, yes, so we were doing inheritance. Okay, so inheritance, as we discussed, is the main method of code reuse in object-oriented programming. Okay, so you basically make a class, and then if you want to reuse the code of that class, the next class in which you want to reuse its code, you inherit from that class. Okay, so inheritance will bring in all the member variables and all the functions of the parent class inside the child class. Okay. Inside the inherited class, we will receive all the member variables of the and the member functions of the base class. So this was what we did. We made a class human, and then from human we basically inherited a class student. Okay. So student, since it is inherited from human, it will basically receive all the data of the human. And then in student we can add additional data that is specific to student. Okay. So similarly we can inherit different classes from human. Here it is student that is inherited from human, but let's say we have other classes which share the same particularities of being a human, so it will share all the data of class human plus those classes will have their own specific particular data. Okay, so we can therefore inherit, let's say, a class teacher from human, and then inside the class teacher, it has already inherited all data related to human. We can add teacher specific data in that class. Okay, so that teacher specific data will be different from student specific data. Okay, so it will have its own variables and functions specific to teacher. Similarly, from teacher, we can further inherit a class called dean, because dean is also a teacher. So dean will have all the data related to human, because dean is also a human, and it will also have all the data belonging to teacher, because dean is human as well as teacher. And then inside the class dean, we can add specific, basically, information or variables or data that is pertaining to dean only. Okay, so we won't put this data in class teacher, because not every teacher is a dean. And similarly, we won't put this dean's data in the class human, because not every human is a dean. Okay, so basically, usually we have the most generic class in the top of the inheritance hierarchy, and then as we uh, like specialize, we inherit from that generic class and add more data to our specialized classes. You can have multiple levels of hierarchies inheritance. For example, here we have a single level hierarchy, class student inheriting from class human. Okay? And I just gave an example of a two-level hierarchy in which we have a class dean, which is inherited from class teacher, and the teacher class itself is inherited from class human. Okay? So it's a two-level hierarchy. You can have as many levels in the hierarchy of inheritance as you guys feel necessary. One other thing is that you can also inherit a class from two different classes. Okay? Let's say, for example, uh, let's say teacher is an academic position and dean is an administration position. So dean, basically, being a teacher and an administrator, it will inherit the qualities of both the class teacher as well as the class administrator. So let's say if we had a class, let's say we can inherit class teacher human, and just for like I'll level, we'll just give it a level, and then let's say we have a class traitor, which is also human, and let's say in administrators, what do administrators have that is specific to them? Let's say I call it a rank. Okay, so rank. So this way we can have something public also, and this way we can have a class, assuming that dean is a teaching as well as administrative position. So we can have class dean, and we can basically inherit it from teacher as well as from administrator. So this way. I think whether we have to repeat this public keyword or not, I'm not sure, but we'll see now. So then we can have dean, have some, let's say, just put a dummy variable to distinguish. Specific. So dean specific data we'll go here, and then we can basically create an object of type Dean. So Dean will basically inherit the qualities of both teacher and administrator. So let's put some public stuff that we can, let's say, okay, so inside show Dean, we can call show teacher because it contains all teachers data, show administrator, and I am Dean. So, so let's see if it compiles. Okay, so I think here also public keyword is perhaps necessary. Space have a class definition. Okay. So after class definitions, we have semicolon. Oh, still not working. Spell the class name before, like public teacher, public administrator, administrator. Okay. It's administrator. Okay. So see here is the inside the class Dean, we call Dean.show, which called teacher show, and then it called admin show, administrator show, and then it output the sentence I am a Dean. Okay. So inside Dean, since Dean has inherited from both teacher and the administrator, inside Dean we have access to both their member variables, member functions, teachers as well as administrators. Okay, so this phenomenon is called multiple inheritance, when we can inherit from multiple classes. Yes, Uzair, you wanted to ask something?
Sir, will it also inherit the properties of class human?
Yes, because by definition, teacher is inherited from human. Okay, so teacher already contains the data of the class human. Similarly, administrator also contains the data of class human. And since this Dean is inheriting from both teacher and human, it is inheriting all the data of teacher and administrator. And since teacher contained the data of human, so Dean also inherited the data of what's it called, human as well as, human, teacher and administrator.
Sir, what is the relation between this dean and human classes? I mean, the relation between this teacher and dean is parent and child. So, what is the relation between human and this?
Oh, for this one level only, you can call them grandparent and grandchild, but then this analogy does not scale. In complex programs, you can have like 5, 6, 7, 8 levels of hierarchy. So usually we are only discussing about parent and children. So we don't have names for all levels of hierarchy. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Anybody else has any question? No? Okay. So I think last time we discussed that private member variables are not directly private member variables of the base class are not directly accessible inside the uh, derived class. Okay. Public member variables and protected member variables of the base class are accessible directly inside the derived class. Okay, we discussed this last time that protected is another level of protection, access specifier, which protected members we can't access from outside a class except if it's a derived class. Okay, so we can access protected member variables of the base class inside the derived class. I hope it does not need repetition. Is it clear? What difference will it make if we change the access specifier from class to public to private? Okay, so good question. Just like we can have access specifier for member variables inside the class, you can give them different type of access, private, protected and public. Similarly, this inheritance also basically uh, you can specify the inheritance level when inheriting. Right now we are inheriting as public, okay, uh, public inheritance. Similarly, inheritance also can be specified as private or protected. Okay? They both are possible. Most of the time you will be using public inheritance, okay? But other two type of inheritance also exist. And what's the difference for that? I think it will better explain if I can search some kind of figure. So just give me a minute if I can find that figure somewhere. I will have to Google it. I think this one is good. Okay, so I found this figure on Google. Can you guys, is it visible? Can you guys see the figure? Okay, good, thank you. So let us go and see. So you have basically this base class members here. You have the members of a class, which is a base class. It has public members, protected members, and private members. Okay. So when we inherit from this class, we will see what kind of things can be accessed in the derived class. So this is a base class. On the leftmost red column, the first column, base class access, and let's see how it is accessed inside the derived class by different type of inheritances. So first is the public inheritance, which we have been using in our examples. So if you inherit publicly using public inheritance, then the public member of the base class are also the public member of the derived class. The protected member of the base class are also become the protected member of the derived class. And the private members of the base class are not accessible inside the derived class. Okay, that's what we have been discussing so far. Let's say instead of public, you had inherited the class using protected inheritance. So the public members of the base class, they will become protected members of the derived class, which means they will be accessible inside the derived class, but they will not be accessible from outside the derived class using a derived class object. Okay. So these members, they were public in the base class. They can be accessed publicly outside from anywhere using the base class object. But using protected inheritance, for the derived class, they will become protected members. Okay. They will become protected members, which means if you have derived class object, you cannot access the base class members using that derived class object from outside. Whereas it was possible to access these members from outside using the base class object because they were public members here. In derived class, they have become protected. Protected members remain protected. Private members which were not accessible using public inheritance are also still not accessible using protected inheritance. These protected members, public member variables that have become protected, they are protected for the derived class. So if you have a second level of inheritance in which you derive the third class from the derived class, these protected members will be accessible inside the third derived class. Okay, because they are the protected member of this derived class. However, if you had inherited using this keyword private, if you had used private inheritance, then these public member variables of the base class, they will become private member variables of the derived class, which means for this derived class, these members will not be accessible from outside the class using this class object, and which was also the case for protected. But here there is another level of protection that now these member variables, they have become the private member variables of this derived class, which means if you derive a third class from this derived class, a second level of inheritance, these private variables which are now these members which were public for the base class have now become private for the derived class. They will not be accessible inside the third derived class because they are private member variables of the derived class, which is the base class of the third class. And as you know, the private member variables for the base class are not accessible inside the derived class. Okay? So these public member variables will become private member variables of a derived class if you use private inheritance. Protected member variables will also become private member variables if you use private inheritance. The private member variables of the base class, which were not accessible from the beginning, are still not accessible inside the derived class. Okay, so that's the difference when you use the public, private, or protected keyword during inheritance. What's the difference between private and not accessible hidden? No, private means this, and the leftmost column is private. Talking about private member variables. The private member variables, they are accessible inside the base class. Okay, inside the base class, they are private member variables. So base class functions can access them directly. Okay, member functions of the base class, they can access private member variables directly. But these private member variables of the base class, they are not accessible directly inside derived class. In any of the modes of inheritance, public, private, protected, they are not accessible directly. Inside the member function of a derived class, we cannot access the private member variables of the base class. We have to access them through public member functions of the base class. Is it clear? The leftmost column is basically telling you what you can, whether these member variables are accessible or not inside the base class. And the right three columns are basically talking about the derived class. So not accessible means those variables cannot be accessed inside the derived class directly. Can a class be derived and friend with its parent at the same time? You will have to see. You will have to do it, and I assume that you are trying to access its private member variables by making it a friend of the base class. So you will have to try and see. I can't, never tried this thing. Try it, and in next class you can tell us whether it's possible or not. Also, if the derived class inherits from a parent class and if the parent class is a friend function, is the friend... No, I think friendship does not get inherited. Friendship, I think it will remain the friend of the parent. Okay, the derived class will not inherit the friendships of the parent class. Okay. Anybody else? Is it clear to everybody? What if we keyword change the keyword from public to private or protected during inheritance? Okay, so assuming you guys are good with this, let's come back to code. Okay. So let's say let's do one thing. We have this human, student, and dean. So dean is a human. So can I do something like this? Let's say or A is equal to D. What do you guys think will happen if I do something like this? I'm assigning an object of type Dean to an object of type human. Think about it in terms of objects. Objects require memory space. Okay? And think in terms of how much memory space is there for the or needed for the object human, and how much memory space is needed for the object Dean. What do you guys think will happen? Or should happen? Very good. So as Muhammad said, basically uh, the human class has less number of members than the Dean class. Okay? So the space allotted for the object of type human is less than the space allocated for object of type Dean. Okay, so since object of type human, what's its name? Object A has less space than object of type Dean, which is D. So we cannot copy all the data of type Dean of the object D into the object A, because simply object A does not have enough space. So what it will do is it will only copy that part of the object Dean which is common with the object of type human. Okay, so the Dean object, as you guys know, has inherited from human object through teacher. So it contains inside itself, it contains an unnamed object of type human. So, but Dean class has its own extra member variables also. So in this copying, it will basically copy the part of Dean that is human into the object A on the right left hand side. Okay. It cannot copy the whole object of type Dean because simply object A does not have enough space to hold the whole object Dean. But there is some commonality between these two objects because Dean has inherited from human, so it will only copy the human part of the Dean into object A. So this thing, I mean this phenomenon in which your object, when you are copying a derived object into a base object, this object does, I mean it gets cut down and only the base part of the derived object is copied into the base object. So this phenomenon is technically is called slicing. And usually it's an error. If you are doing it, it will usually cause some bug in your program because usually you do not want to lose data. Okay? So you are basically copying the not half, but whatever part that is of the base object, from the derived into the base object. So the thing is, they both have different types. One is of type human and the other is of type Dean. In C++, usually if you try to assign one type of object to another, it gives you an error. But in this case, it will not give you an error because although these two types are different, they are not totally different types. They are not totally different types like teacher and point are totally different, totally unrelated types. These two types, although they are different, but they are in a way related because they are related through inheritance. And also, as we say that a teacher, Dean is a human. Okay? So there is a relationship between these two objects. So in this case, it will not give you an error. It will allow you this copying because it assumes that these two objects are related. So there are still, some similarities. So it will copy the common part from one object to another, but usually, I mean, we don't do this. So let me compile to see what does it say. Okay, so human is an ambiguous base of Dean. Okay, here it gave an error because human is an ambiguous. It is. I'll come to ambiguity later, but just for the moment to emphasize my point, we will do this. Okay, see it compiled. Here what we have done is give the class human and the class teacher inherits from human and the class dean inherits from teacher. Okay, so we remove the multiple inheritance. We are just doing single inheritance, two-level inheritance. Dean is inherited from teacher, which is inherited from human. So here, when we assign an object of type Dean to an object of type human, it allows us. Okay? But here we have basically lost the Dean part. Okay? So A has only copied the human part. So if we do A dot show, we will get something. Okay, so here it is basically, yeah, I am a Dean. I think here it is the A dot show. So it is initialized to default values and it is showing us, I mean, the human was initialized, sorry, the Dean was initialized to default values, which was copied into A, and A dot show is showing us whatever has been copied into A from Dean. If here I go and I try to show A dot show Dean, here I'm calling show Dean, which was a function of basically Dean in from an object of type human. So this will give me an error because the object human class has no notion of the Dean class. Human class knows nothing about the Dean class. And similarly, human class does not have a function show Dean. So inheritance works, I mean, things are copied from the base class to the derived class, not from a derived class to the base class. The base class has no knowledge about its derived classes. So show Dean function, which is part of Dean, the human class does not know anything about the show Dean function. And when we copied the Dean object into human object, this part of Dean was of course not copied because the object has no notion of, I mean, the members of Dean does not have space for it, etc., etc. Okay, is it clear? The concept of slicing. Okay, good. So now let's come back to the error that it was giving us. So let's say here we are doing multiple inheritance and we are inheriting Dean from teacher as well as administrator. So and teacher and administrator, they are both humans. They are both derived from human. So here we are basically assigning an object of type Dean to an object of type human, which is basically the parent of teacher as well as administrator. So let's read the study in error again. Okay. So here is basically giving an error that human is an ambiguous base of Dean. So what is an ambiguous? What does it mean, ambiguous? Can anybody guess? What does it mean? when it says that it is an ambiguous base of Dean. So basically, not what do you mean by which option? Which class to assign values from? Okay, so what are the options that it has? There are two classes being inherited. Good. So I hope you guys are following what Muhammad Farah is saying. So here let's again I'll take help from Google to show you this diagram. Hola. So here I mean leave these names, think about our we have the base class human at the top, and from human we are inheriting basically student and not student. From human we are inheriting teacher as well as administrator. Okay. So as I told you earlier, when a class inherits from a base class, an object it basically it inherits all the data members etc. of the base class. So inside the derived class object we have an unnamed uh, base class object which contains all the member variables of the base class. Okay. So here let's say this class was teacher inherited from the class human. So in class teacher we will have, and every object of class teacher will contain an object of class human. Similarly, this class is administrator which is also inherited from class human. So again every object of class administrator will contain inside itself a object of class human. So these two objects will contain copies of class human, and when we inherit the dean from teacher and uh, administrator, so every object of class dean will contain in itself a object of class teacher, which in itself will contain an object of class human, and every object of class dean will also contain an object of class administrator, which in itself will contain the the object of class human. Okay. So every object of class dean will contain two copies of the object of class human. Okay. So this basically causes the problem that the compiler is confused that you are trying to copy the object of class dean into an object of class human. It can do it, but the problem is inside the object of class dean there are two copies of class human. One that was inherited through teacher and the other that was inherited through administrator. Okay. So it is confused that which of these copies it should assign to the class, object of class human on the left hand side of the assignment operator. So that's why it is giving an error and saying that the it is confused because the class human is a ambiguous ancestor of the class dean. Is it clear? To others? Okay, so I hope you guys are following it. So in multiple inheritance, whenever there is a base class that is common, it can give rise to problems like this. And this typical problem is called in C++ or in object-oriented programming, it's called diamond problem. Okay, because this figure that this makes people think that it's like a diamond, so they call it the diamond problem. Similarly, let's say if you have the function show and you are calling it from the class Dean, so it has inherited a function. Human had a function show, class human. So it will inherit all the functions of the class human. So class Dean, since it has two copies of class human, it will have two copies of its functions also. So it will not know which basically function to call if you call Dean.show. So this diamond problem, basically it can be resolved by, how is it resolved? This is diamond problem. Voila. So basically we can declare one branch of this inheritance, we can call it virtual. And then I think it can be resolved. So this is, you can hide this virtually. Let me try it. Let me try it. Code. So let's inherit one of the branches, make it virtual inheritance. Let us see what it says now. It is still an ambiguous inheritance. Okay, so we'll leave it here. This diamond problem will solve it some time later, or rather I encourage you to look it up yourself. What I want to do is, our plan for this class was something different, so we'll stick to the plan. Okay? But you guys should know that in multiple inheritance, this problem arises and it's called the diamond problem. It's a very popular interview question. So what I wanted to do was something like this. Go here. This. And we will override the function show. Student. In student we have overridden the function show. In teacher also we will show. And in Dean also, let's override the function show, and it will be called totally different. We just don't call the human one, we just call the Dean. So this is the assigning a derived class object to a base class object causes slicing. Okay? So assigning objects is never a good idea, derived class objects to base class objects. What we can do is that we can basically declare pointers. HP1, static HP2, static HP3, and here basically static dp is equal to Dean pointer is equal to ampersand d, and student pointer student static student pointer is equal to ampersand c, and we can also do it with this. It's a human pointer. B, and hp2 is equal to, we are giving it the address of the class student, and hp3 we are giving it d. So we have an object of class human called B, an object of class student called C, and an object of class Dean called D. And here we have declared three pointers of type human, and we have assigned them addresses of these objects. So the first we are assigning the address of object B to HP1. Okay. Here on both sides of the assignment operator, we have same type of data. Okay. On the left side we have a human pointer, and on the right side also we have address of a human object. So it's the same pointer. On the second line, what's it, line number 98, on the left side of assignment operator we have a human pointer, and on the right side we are assigning it address of an object student. Okay, so here the right side is student pointer. Similarly, third line 99, we have left side human pointer, on the right side we have Dean pointer. Line 100 and 101 basically left and right are the same type of data. Student pointer is being assigned to student pointer, and Dean address of Dean object is being assigned to Dean pointer. So let's basically now print it hp1 show 2, 3 student pointer, Dean pointer. So here the hp1 basically contains the address of the human object. It is calling show on it. hp2 contains the address of student object, and it is calling show of that function. Show function is being defined in human as well as student as well as Dean. Okay. And then here on hp3 contains the address of the Dean object and is calling show. Here basically line number 104 and 106, hp2 and sp, they both contain the address of the same object, but they are accessing it through a different type, pointer type. Okay. So the object is the same, the address is the same, but we are accessing it through a different pointer type. And similarly, line 105 and 107, again the same thing. Both objects are the same of type Dean. Okay, so address is the same of Dean type object, but we are accessing it through different pointers. Line 107 is accessing it through a Dean pointer, and 105 is accessing it through the human pointer. Okay. So here, let's compile it. So let's see one accesses these objects to different kinds of pointers. So here things are a little confusing. What I will do is I will basically release these constructor and destructors, we will remove printf from these constructors. Teacher is not being used, but okay, it's not being used for the moment. Yeah, it's not being used, but it's being called inside the Dean. So let's see if this makes things better. Okay, apart from the point destructor. So here I am a Dean. This is basically the, I think I'll remove that I am a Dean also. It's this thing. Okay. So first is basically the show function for the human object called by HP1. Let me open this. Okay, so line number 105, it is basically the first, this GHK is F and 24 years old. HP2 arrow show, basically this is calling show for the student object, but the student object, if we go here in the student object show, name is SM 25 years old. So this is human, and inside the student object show function here, it is calling human show and then it is giving university and GPA. So the show function for this HP2, it is containing the address of the student object, but when it calls show function, it is not calling the show function of the student object, rather it is calling the show function of the human object. Because if it had called the show function of student object, then its output would have been different. Look at line number 108, student pointer arrow show, which is basically containing the address of the same object and calling it show. So it is basically calling the show function of the student because it is using the student pointer. So this is the output. XYZ is F and 24 years old and G key and 2.3. Okay. So this is calling the proper show function of the student object. However, HP2 arrow show, since it's using the base class pointer to call the show, it is not calling the student pointer, student show function, but rather it is calling the show function of the human object inside the student object. Okay, so here it is calling the show function of the human object inside the student object. Same for Dean. HP3 contains the address of the Dean object. When it calls show, it does not call the show function of the Dean object, rather it calls the show function of the human object inside the Dean object, because it is accessing it through a human pointer. While line number 109, DP arrow show, it is using the Dean pointer to access the same object. This way it calls the function correctly, the show function. It's calling I am a Dean. Okay, so do you guys see the difference? I think I will make it to only one just to make it clear. So let's keep it to the Dean. It is more clear. No, it is good. And let's also remove the destructors of these things. Is a point class, point class. Okay. So here we're just calling show twice for the same object, which is a Dean object. One by using the human pointer, and the other time using the Dean pointer. Okay. Object is the same, address is the same. It's just the pointer that we are using to access that object. The type of that pointer is different. So for the same object, we are calling show function using different pointers. When we are using human pointer, it is calling the show function of the human object inside the Dean object. But when we are using the Dean pointer, then it is correctly calling the show function for the Dean object that we have overridden inside the Dean object. Is this thing clear? That the object is the same. We are just using different pointers to manipulate that object. And based on the type of that pointer, we are calling the show function. So it will call the base class or the derived class version of the show, depending on the pointer that we are using. Okay, to others, does anybody does not understand? So basically pointers, we are able to assign pointers also. If there are different type of pointers, you can't assign one type of pointer to another. In C++, type rules are very strict. But here it allows you to assign one type of address to other type of pointer, because these two types are not totally different. They are related. They are related through inheritance. So because of this relation, it allows you to assign a Dean pointer to a human pointer. Okay. Now this phenomenon basically poses a problem, because if it was not there, if it had, called the correct show function for the Dean using the human pointer, it would have made life very easy for us. Why? Because if you remember, in C++ we have arrays. What is the particularity of an array? What kind of what kind of characteristics are related to an array? What's an array in C++? Hello. I mean, you guys are not speaking like I have asked a question which is from the fourth year. Very good. It's a data structure in which we can store multiple values. And the thing is that, I mean, the key thing is that those values are of the same type, and they're stored together in the memory. So the thing is, if we had an array of, let's say, pointers to type human. Okay. So the thing is, if we had an array of, instead of this, if I had an array of type 3. So the array basically has to be of the same type, and the thing is, okay, so since I can assign different type of pointers to the base class pointer, I could have stored information or pointers addresses of different type of object inside an array. So if this had worked correctly here, let's first run it to see inheritance. Oops. Oh, so okay. So this has to be a pointer, not. Sorry. This has to be an array of pointers since we are assigning addresses. Okay, good. Now these three different pointers of type human, they are accessing three different type of objects. First, an object of type human. Another basically stores the address of an object of type student. And the third, an object of type, the address of an object of type Dean. We are calling show on all of them. The thing is, since the human type pointer is the type of the pointer, type of the array is human pointer, so it is basically storing the, I mean, calling the show function of a type human because it's using the base pointer, and using the base pointer, it is basically accessing the object of the base class inside the derived object and calling the function of the base class object inside the derived class object. Now, our intention usually is to call the latest function, the derived class function, okay, because that was the main reason why we overrode that function, that we wanted to give new functionality for that function in the derived class. But in an array, I mean, the object has to be of the same type. So pointers in array can be only of one type, type human pointer. Okay? Because array C++, array is always object of the same type. But what if we wanted to call the basically show function of each of these classes respectively in derived classes? This is very useful. We need, I mean, there are a lot of occasions where we arrive, we have like hundreds of objects of different type, and we want to call the show function or the equivalent of that particular object, not of the base type. The thing is, we have to call them in, let's say, in a loop. In a loop, we have to put them in an array, but in an array, we use pointers, but those pointers are of the base type. So to solve this problem, C++ gives you a way of being able to call the derived class function from the base class by declaring that particular function virtual. What we do is we make this function virtual. So this virtual keyword will make this function virtual, and virtual function will be called for the object whose address is stored, not for the base class object inside that object, but the object whose address is being stored, that particular object's function will be called. So I made this virtual, and now you guys see the object output is different. All of the pointers are of type human, and they point to different objects. The first pointer points to an object of type human, so it is calling the human object's show function. Sorry, this one. Same as in the previous output. The second pointer points to an object of type student, and this time, since the function is virtual, in the base class we declared it virtual, this pointer is calling the appropriate function of the object whose address it is storing, not of the base class object inside that object. Okay? So this time it is calling the show function of the student class. And similarly, the third pointer contains address of the Dean object, so it is calling the show function for the Dean object. Okay, so this way we can store the basically base address, the address of a derived class object into a pointer of a base class, and still be able to call the derived class function if that function is declared virtual inside the base class. Okay, is it clear? So this phenomenon of declaring this base class function virtual to be able to call the correct version of the function from the base class pointer, this phenomenon is called polymorphism. Okay. Again, it's one of the favorite interview questions in C++. What is polymorphism and how do we implement it? Vectors, Mohammad Farah, is something different. We'll study vectors in a couple of weeks. But for the moment, this phenomenon is called polymorphism. Okay, is it clear what is polymorphism? Okay, so I hope it's clear to others also. Uzair, you guys are taking classes, but it's I who been speaking from the since morning. You guys are in the listening mode. So is it clear what is polymorphism and why it is used to others than Talha? Okay, so I hope it's clear to all of you. And if it's clear, then I'll stop this meeting. What does virtual keyword prevent function overriding? How does it? No, functions are basically overridden still. Functions are overriding, but you are able to call the correct version. How is it? I mean, how is it working? We'll discuss it in the next class. We'll continue it from here and discuss it in the next class. How does this virtual keyword works? Okay, so I'll stop the recording and